7 small patches of desert, that's all they had. 7 territories so poor that British colonizers, who grabbed everything from India's jewels to Africa's gold, took one look and basically said, not worth it. So resource poor that pearl diving, the act of nearly drowning yourself for a living, was considered the peak of their economy. The British actually called them the Pirate Coast because raiding ships paid better than anything the land could offer. Fast forward just 50 years, not 500, not even 100, just 50. Today, these same 7 patches of sand control sovereign wealth funds worth over 1.5 trillion US dollars. That's more money than the entire GDP of Spain. Their police drive Lamborghinis and Bugattis, not as seized assets, but as public relations tools. Their firefighters use high-altitude jetpack systems for skyscraper access. They're building a simulation city for Mars while half the world struggles to fix potholes. Here's what breaks your brain. They did this with a demographic structure that defies history. Right now, as you're watching this, 88% of the people living there aren't citizens. They generally cannot vote. They cannot own land outside of specific freehold zones. They get deported if they lose their residency sponsorship. Yet somehow, these temporary workers built one of the most futuristic societies on Earth. Think about that. Nearly 9 out of every 10 people you'd meet on the street have zero political power, yet they've created a place that makes Tokyo look antiquated. But wait, this is where it gets completely insane. The locals, the actual citizens, they're only roughly 1.2 million people out of nearly 10 million total. They're outnumbered 9-to-1 in their own country. You know what this means? The United Arab Emirates. We're in the UAE, specifically its most famous city, Dubai. Though saying Dubai represents the UAE is like saying Las Vegas represents America. Dead wrong. The UAE is actually 7 different emirates, 7 different rulers, 7 different visions, somehow functioning as one country. Dubai and Abu Dhabi get all the press, but Sharjah, Ajman, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, and Al Quwain each have their own laws and distinct cultures. You can literally drive 20 minutes and alcohol goes from legal to absolutely forbidden. The death penalty exists for some crimes in one emirate that are treated much more leniently next door. The country sits at one of the most strategic locations on Earth, controlling the Strait of Hormuz, where 21% of all global petroleum passes through. That's 1/5 of the world's oil flowing past their shores every single day. Yet, here's the kicker. Dubai, the emirate everyone thinks of when they hear UAE, has almost no oil left. They've got less oil than some Texas ranches. Abu Dhabi holds over 90% of the UAE's oil reserves, while Dubai is running on fumes. So how did Dubai become the face of Arabian wealth? That's where this gets interesting. This matters to you because the UAE isn't just building the future. They're beta testing what happens when traditional nations become obsolete. While your government debates infrastructure bills, they're reshaping the concept of citizenship. While your country argues about immigration, they've created a society where natives are the minority and somehow made it work. They're not playing by the rules because they're writing entirely new ones. Right now, today, the UAE is dealing with something unprecedented. Climate change is making their country literally uninhabitable for parts of the year. Temperatures hit 51.8 degrees Celsius last summer. That's approaching the wet bulb limit, where the human body cannot cool itself. Yet, they're not fleeing. They're doubling down. They are aggressively using cloud seeding technology, shocking clouds with drones and planes to force rainfall, occasionally causing massive floods in the desert. They proposed a project to build an enclosed, climate-controlled moon resort on Earth. These are survival tactics disguised as luxury. The money is absolutely staggering. UAE citizens, not residents, just citizens, have an immense safety net. The government provides significant marriage grants, offers land for housing, pays for entire educations, including international universities, and creates public sector jobs to ensure income distribution. They even established a Ministry of Happiness with the specific mandate of overseeing national well-being metrics. This socialist paradise for citizens is built on what human rights organizations call the Kafala system. This sponsorship system legally ties a migrant worker's immigration status to their employer. While reforms are happening, for decades, this system allowed employers to confiscate passports and restrict workers from changing jobs. The construction workers building the Burj Khalifa, the service staff, the people who literally built this futuristic paradise, often live in labor accommodations outside the city, where the heat is relentless. How did 7 patches of desert nobody wanted become this? Rewind to 1958. That's when they found oil in Abu Dhabi. Not just oil, an ocean of it. Abu Dhabi sits on roughly 9% of the world's proven oil reserves. But here's what nobody expected. Instead of fighting over it, the Emirates made a deal that shouldn't have worked. In 1971, the British left. 6 Emirates immediately formed the UAE, and Ras Al Khaimah joined a year later. The deal was simple but revolutionary. Abu Dhabi would share its oil wealth to fund the federal budget, Dubai would share its trade and business expertise, and the smaller Emirates would integrate into the union. It's essentially a federal subsidy system. The oil-rich capital supports the infrastructure of the entire union. Sheikh Rashid, the former ruler of Dubai, had a vision that seemed insane at the time. He famously said, "My grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. I drive a Mercedes. My son drives a Land Rover. His son will drive a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel." He predicted their oil leverage was temporary, so they started preparing for the post-oil world while swimming in oil money. In this country, women hold powerful government positions and fighter pilot seats, yet family laws remain deeply traditional. Alcohol flows freely in hotel zones to cater to the West, while strict Islamic laws govern public conduct. They host the World Expo, promoting tolerance while maintaining strict censorship laws. They build massive places of worship for various faiths while maintaining Islam as the state religion. It's not hypocrisy. It's a meticulously designed survival strategy to balance global business with local tradition. The local culture has adapted to this extreme wealth. The national dress, the white kandura for men and black abaya for women, has become a symbol of status, distinguishing the 12% citizenry from the 88% expat workforce. They maintain heritage sports like falconry and camel racing, industries that now move millions of dollars. Working in the UAE means accepting a strict economic hierarchy, often based on your passport. It's an open secret in the corporate world. Compensation packages often vary wildly depending on whether you are a Western expat, an Arab expat, or an Asian expat, even for similar roles. But here's what hooks people: tax-free income. 0 personal income tax. That attracts global talent despite the high cost of living. Dubai has one of the highest concentrations of millionaires in the region. The marina is full of super yachts. The real estate market is a global parking lot for cash. Want the truly insane part? The UAE is importing everything, including the ground itself. The desert sand is too smooth for concrete construction, so they import construction-grade sand from countries like Australia. They're building islands shaped like palm trees in world maps. The Palm Jumeirah added 78 kilometers of beachfront to Dubai. They're literally manufacturing geography. Education shows the divide perfectly. Emirati children have access to free government education and scholarships. Expat families, however, navigate a massive private school sector where tuition can rival university costs in other countries. The result is a city with schools teaching British, American, Indian, French, and international baccalaureate curriculums side by side. Healthcare follows suit. Citizens have full coverage, including government-funded treatment abroad if necessary. Expats rely on mandatory insurance tied to their employment. If you have a high-end corporate job, the hospitals look like 5-star hotels. The big game here isn't what you think. The UAE isn't competing with other Arab nations. They've already won that. They're not competing with the West. They're buying into it. They own major European football clubs, significant chunks of London real estate, and hold billions in US assets. They're competing with Singapore to become the global hub when nation-states become irrelevant. Their strategy is brilliant and terrifying. They're making themselves indispensable. Want to trade with Asia? Go through Dubai's ports. Need a geopolitical mediator? Abu Dhabi is the table. The Golden Visa program was their masterstroke, offering 10-year residency without a sponsor to investors, scientists, and doctors. They are actively recruiting the world's brainpower to stay permanently, shifting away from the transient worker model. The Abraham Accords with Israel? That wasn't just about peace, it was about technology transfer. The UAE wants cybersecurity tech and agricultural tech. They're playing every side because they know something we don't. In 50 years, nations might not matter as much as logistics hubs. Here's the dark truth. The UAE's model faces an existential clock. The citizen-to-expat ratio is getting wider. The government knows this. Their solution? Automation and AI. They are investing heavily in robotics to eventually reduce their reliance on the massive importation of low-skilled labor. Climate change will make the region hostile. When wet bulb temperatures exceed survivability limits, outdoor labor becomes impossible. Their response? Build indoor cities. They're pioneering how humanity survives when the environment turns against us. The UAE might be humanity's best hope. They're what happens when you run society like a corporation. Efficient, focused on the bottom line, and adaptable. Is it dystopian? To many, yes. Is it working? Undeniably. While democracies argue themselves into paralysis, the UAE builds. They're not held back by voters or gridlock. They're pure capitalism wearing a traditional costume. The question isn't whether the UAE's model is right. The question is whether it's the future. When climate change displaces billions and automation eliminates jobs, will we all end up living in some version of the UAE? A place where residency is a subscription service, where corporations are governments, and where humans are sorted by economic utility. Next time you complain about your government, remember this: at least you have a voice. In the UAE, the majority of people building the future have no political voice at all. Yet they stay. They choose economic opportunity over democratic participation. And that might be the most terrifying revelation of all. Maybe most humans prefer prosperity to democracy. The UAE isn't just a country, it's a corporation with a flag. And it might be the most successful corporation in human history. If this look into the UAE's insane reality blew your mind, subscribe right now. We're exposing the hidden truths about countries that will change how you see everything. Like this video if you want more unfiltered investigations.